Have you noticed how almost everyone online is something now? A filmmaker or a writer, a podcaster, a founder, a musician who is working on something. Not really doing much of it, just being it, or at least saying they are. And I don't mean this in a judgmental way. I'm very much talking about myself too. At some point, wanting became a personality trait. And we don't say I'm learning filmmaking. We say I'm a filmmaker. We don't say I write sometimes. We say I'm a writer and working on a book. And it feels good because wanting is safe. Wanting doesn't require finishing anything, and it doesn't ask you to ship the messy things. So it doesn't make you confront the gap between who you imagine you are and what you can actually do right now. Doing is awkward, doing is boring, doing is sitting alone with a half finished draft at 11:47 p.m. wondering if you are wasting your time. Doing is realizing you're not as talented as the version of yourself in your head. So instead, a lot of us fall in love with the idea of the drama, not the dream itself. So we collect dreams like accessories: filmmaker, writer, athlete, entrepreneur. They sit nicely in our bios. They make us sound interesting at dinner. They give us a sense of motion without requiring movement. But they don't ask much of us. This is what I think the real crisis is. Not lack of ambition, but the performative ambition. We are not building lives, we are curating identities. Somewhere along the way, the identity became more important than the craft. People don't want to write, they want to be seen as writers. They don't want to make films, they want the aesthetics of being a filmmaker. The laptop, the cafe, the black and white photo, the moody caption about trusting the process. The actual process is lonely, repetitive, unsexy. Weeks where nothing comes out, and you start questioning why you even care. That part doesn't post well, and honestly, I think this comes from a deeper boredom with ourselves. Listing dreams becomes a way to escape the present and a way to feel alive without actually changing anything. So you don't have to face the discomfort of being average, you don't have to commit, you don't have to choose. And social media makes this so much worse because now you get rewarded for attention and intention, because you now get rewarded for the intention. You say, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel, and people say, that's amazing, can't wait. And you say, I want to write a book, and suddenly you feel like a writer without writing a single page. That validation hits early, and because that works, before the doubt, before the long stretch where no one cares, and it quietly kills the hunger to actually become anything. What's strange is that this space feels very loud, but real creators often feel invisible in it. The people actually showing up every day, writing bad drafts, editing terrible videos, working through confusion with no guarantee. They are buried under the noise of people announcing who they plan to be. So you end up with an oversaturation of labels and scarcity of substance, the real substance. And if you are genuinely trying, it can mess with your head. You start wondering, why am I working so hard while others get attention just for saying the words? But here is the uncomfortable truth. Choosing is terrifying because the moment you choose one thing seriously, you kill 100 other versions of yourself. You are no longer someone who could be anything. You are someone who chose this. And that becomes with limit, with boredom, with the possibility that you will fail quietly. That's why obsession gets romanticized but rarely practiced. Real obsession isn't a vibe. It's not really aesthetic. It doesn't look good from the outside. Most days it's just showing up when the fantasy is gone, when no one is watching and you're not even sure this will work. That's the real line, not between talented and untalented, but between performers and builders. So I think the honest question isn't what do I want to be? It's quieter than that. It's do I actually enjoy the work this requires, even when it's invisible? And if no one clapped, if no one knew, if it took years longer than I hoped, would you still do it? Because the world doesn't really need more people performing ambition. It needs people willing to sit with the boring parts, to be bad for a long time, to build something slowly, awkwardly, and without applause. And that's not inspirational, that's just real.